She earned her way through college as Miss Wisconsin, earning a Miss Congeniality title. I know that's shocking. For the title of Miss America competition, she has always had a soft spot in her heart for the underrepresented. Whereas after college, Deb started a career in media sales and an on-air television spokesperson for a weekly show. Following that, she began her work in the nonprofit world, working with the YMCA of Greater Kansas City. This exposed her to a variety of networks, perhaps partnerships all around Kansas City. Whereas Deb became the Chief Inclusion Officer at Variety Kansas City over 10 years ago. Since beginning her work with Variety, she has led the organization as the only full-time staff person, which seems extraordinary, but as everybody knows, we call her the Energizer Bunny for a reason. Whereas throughout her career working for Variety, she's been able to increase the fundraising tenfold. She enjoys using fundraising dollars to be as fruitful as possible. Under her guidance, Variety Kansas City has been able to have the lowest administrative nonprofit cost in Kansas City, which is extraordinary. Yeah. During her numerous years working with Variety, Deb noticed it wasn't just equipment barriers, but the lack of truly inclusive opportunities. And whereas after seeing the lacking inclusive opportunities, she created the KC Inclusion Revolution. This initiative strives to make Kansas City the most inclusive city in the world. She has accomplished this mission by passing local laws and ordinances, making inclusive first. In construction, mandating universal changing stations in Kansas City, offering sensory kits to local law enforcement and schools and the like, sporting and other popular complexes, and creating, as we all now know, the first inclusive play area at the new KCI airport, and so much more. It is truly my honor to recognize you, my dear friend, as you retire. I don't know what this city will be like without you, but we made a deal that we're retiring together, so here we are. It's darn close. But I'm just gonna give a real quick, if you don't mind, giving me a teeny bit of personal privilege today, Mayor. The first thing we did when we started our partnership was create they had already created this, we just helped implement it in the Kansas City area. The Think of Me, Keep It Free handicap parking signs. These are the signs that go right below the blue handicap placard. Those are now in every city handicap parking stall in a parking lot in Kansas City. Thank you to Director Shaw. I saw him in here. Dr. Michael Shaw, allowed that to happen along with then manager Troy Schulte. We're really grateful for that. Universal changing stations. The ADA doesn't allow that. It doesn't work at the federal government. So we have to make municipal laws in all the cities around this country to make that happen. Our planning department did that, and our colleagues on this council said yes to that. And so now, if you have a family restroom or you build one in any building project in Kansas City, you need to put a universal changing station. What is that? Well, people that are little children who have disabilities grow up to be our size. And are we going to let them be changed on the floor? No, we want to be changed with dignity, just like everybody else. And Deb instituted that. Thank you so much. All of our city parks, we wrote a resolution. If we have a city park, we're going to make it be accessible. If we're going to redo it, we're going to make sure that a percentage of the apparatus are usable for people so that everybody, whether they have mobility issues or whether they can speak or not, they get to do that. So because of Deb, we have that. And because of her partnership with Randy Mahomes, now Randy Mahomes does every birthday, she raises money and she uses that money for sign language and communication signboards at every KC park. So when you see a KC park board that has sign language or communication signs on it, it'll say because of Randy Mahomes, because of her relationship and friendship with Deb. That's a big deal. In the zoo, we have the first inclusive zoo in the country because of Deb and Variety. We have a play area, we have sensory kits, because you know when you get to Africa, I don't care who you are, if you're a mom, you know that when you get to Africa, your kids have lost all control of their lives. It's hot, we're tired, we're grumpy, we walk too far. Now, because of her relationship with the Royals, they donated an amazing wheelchair golf cart. So we have a golf cart, thank you so much, the Royals, for that. And we are excited to say that now they can have a calming time, they have sensory kits, they have an all-inclusive play area, and that because of the zoo. Same kinds of things. At Starlight, not only did we make it accessible for the people with disabilities and wheelchairs to go, now they get to actually be actors and musicians on the stage because we are offering them opportunities to do that because of Deb. Kauffman Center for Performing Arts, Sporting KC, the Kauffman Stadium, thank you so much for putting in universal changing stations. Central Bank Park, as we know, that became not only to have a great, amazing play area, but first ever at the Central Bank Sporting Complex in the Northland, we now have the first ever power sports. So if you're a short stature or if you're on Power Olympics or sport Paralympics, excuse me, you can now play soccer alongside everybody else. Of course, we'd want to do that. And that's all because of Deb. The Chiefs obviously have instituted so many things, and then of course the Mavericks. And unfortunately they weren't able to come today, but they wanted to be here also to wish you well. James Arkell did. We talked about that. We talked about sensory kits. They donated sensory kits for all the police departments, school districts. They had the hospitals around the community, so that, you know, if someone with autism is in a situation and the police are there, now the police have a bag with tools like a weighted blanket, noise canceling headphones, sunglasses, so the lights, if they're just too bright and it's too chaotic, it helps them, all because of Deb. She's created harness cafes, so children that never get to stand up can be harnessed and standing up and learn what it feels like to stand up and look eye to eye with their peers, and harness cafe in local schools. How amazing is that? Again, KCI, first ever. Thank you to my colleagues and the aviation department, and I think they hate us now, but anyway, we finally have the first ever in the world all-inclusive play area for all children of all abilities to play, whether they're coming or going from KCI. We have a sensory room there, we have universal changing stations, and we have the amazing practice room. What do we call that? A flight simulator room, thank you. And then, of course, you're standing on the dais that we said, here we are talking about inclusivity, but no one with a wheelchair could get up and be acknowledged, and so now they can. So thank you for making that happen. And then, of course, another thing we did with Director Shaw is, for some reason, the striping was on the wrong side of the road. When you pull into a handicap spot, the striping was on the door side, not the ramp side. It's just some weird code that ADA did. We don't know why, but anyway, again, it's all about ignorance, right? And people aren't being mean, we just didn't know what we didn't know. But because of Deb and Variety, we now know, and our eyes are opened. And so we're so grateful for that. We added stronger public work standards in the standards programs. What we're doing now is we're saying, you know what, if you're going to have to take away a sidewalk, because to Councilman Bunch's point earlier, when you take away a sidewalk to do the improvements on the sidewalk, you've now blocked the accessibility for people who need to communicate and get places. So now they're saying it has to be 5 days or less because of this new code that Deb had us do, and we're making the shortest route so people in wheelchairs are not having to go long ways all the way around to get somewhere. And it, just obvious to her, but not to us because we didn't know. One more thing, sorry. We mentioned this during business session, but you weren't in here, so I'm gonna say it again. Deb brought it to our attention during our Royals parade, and then the first Chiefs parade, that, you know, people in wheelchairs would like to show up at these events, but there's not porta potties that are accessible, and there is not a viewing station that is accessible. But if we had those two things, families with someone in a wheelchair could actually spend the whole day like everybody else enjoying the festivities. Now they can, because of learning from the first Royals parade and the first Chiefs, the second Chiefs parade, we got our act together, we figured it out. And now for the NFL draft, we'll have our act together and have it figured out so everybody can be included. And this is my list. I am sure there is so much more because these are the things you've done in Kansas City. But Deb, I'm tired and I've just been going along for the ride, and I cannot thank you enough for your friendship, for your compassion, for your care and your dedication so that everybody can be included in this city and not just some people. So thank you for everything you've done, and I hope that you feel like this has made all your dreams come true to be able to love and take care of all the people that you have. So we have a few tokens of appreciation for you today, and your arms are gonna break because I think you got the biggest bouquet of flowers ever. But we have a few things we'd like to offer. So after this, Mayor, I know we still have to do a few more things. After we all do this, I'd like all of you to come out, and we'll go out there, and whoever of all my colleagues, anybody who wants to go out and get a photo recognizing this, we'd love to have you join us. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Hall. Are there others who wish to speak to the resolution? And what I might recommend is after we vote on the resolution, why don't we just come up and do some pictures here? Everybody's already here. It's a good setup. We'll move some chairs out of your way and create a good moment for you. Yeah, absolutely. I want to say just briefly about Deb, who really did, for those of us who have been here for a little while. You remember, Councilwoman Hall, when we came on City Council and they said, you need to fund ADA improvements. And it was almost just a technical requirement. We weren't thinking about what we were doing. And Variety has had such an important role, and Councilwoman Hall just noted it, in doing things with heart and love. If you go to the inclusive areas at the airport, at the Central Bay Sporting Complex, at the zoo, at any number of locations, you see a place that is built truly with love, because that's exactly what you did. You are, to your credit, not a bureaucrat or a technocrat. You're somebody who said, I want to put smiles on children's faces and let them know about the opportunities that exist for all of them. And so we appreciate you for having that impact in Kansas City. I don't think you're allowed to retire, so we'll just make this a thing, and you'll be back again, but regardless, God bless you and thank you so much. If there are no others who wish to speak to the resolution is now before council. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The resolution is adopted. So if you wish to say a few words, then we'll stay up
for a second. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I'm shocked and surprised. Heather said Deb a lot. Deb should be taken out of that. I am just the voice of these amazing families that have children with different special needs. There are so many of them. When I started with Variety, we're 80 years old of a charity, but I feel like we're just starting because 26% of our community has special needs. And I know I'm preaching to the choir because you believe in our mission, but we're the single largest minority population that just want to belong and be seen. And because of you, you have listened to our voices and you have made a positive change, a true cultural shift that I see and families see and are moving to Kansas City because of the reputation of being so inclusive, because their kids are treated differently here. And that's because of you. It wouldn't be possible without you believing in our mission and passing these laws and ordinances to make that change. So God bless you, Godspeed to all of you, and please keep listening to these beautiful families. It's been the biggest blessing of my life, besides my husband and kids.
Dear Deb, I have to first say that I will try my hardest to find the words of gratitude and appreciation to express myself, but even I don't have enough words to convey all my feelings. Deb, you have spent years making sure the kids of Kansas City had everything they needed to be heard, to be included, and most importantly, to be seen and welcomed into a community that forgot we existed. I have been privileged to be gifted an accessible bicycle and my gates communication device. But you know what I'm the most grateful for, Deb? My friendship with you. You helped show me that adults outside of my circle and village care about the dreams of kids in the disabled community. You listened to my dream of educating kids about disabilities to improve the lives of all future generations. You took my dream and made it a reality when you asked me to help write a book about my dream to play soccer. You gave me opportunities to speak to kids about my dreams while gifting me a platform to educate our future, my biggest dream fulfilled. So, thank you for seeing me and listening to me, Dad. I will forever be grateful for the memories, and don't forget, you promised to be my campaign manager when I'm not for president. The world is ready for what we will build together. Once a crusader, always a crusader. You are stuck with me for life. Sincerely yours, President K.